Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I think it's still morning, 11:35, but let's come to our daily recording. Right. If any of you have looked at our program on August 8th, we put together a program, an experiment to find out, is it profitable? Is it profitable? Which one is profitable? Selling puts or buying calls? So we put together this little program here. We said a trading program, we're going to do tests, two different separate programs, three separate programs, and we're going to use the Mark 7, which is Magnificent Seven stocks: Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Tesla, Google, Meta. These are the main stocks at this point in 2025. I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but these are the seven most powerful stocks in United States stock market. So we said, okay, the first program, we're going to buy 70 Delta calls, and then the duration would be between 90 to 120 days. And we're going to be buying based on the indicator that we have, the custom indicator that we have. We're going to be buying when that is green, and we're going to sell, which is this here. We're going to sell when it's red. We made that plan, and then we said, okay, the other side is we're going to sell a put. We're going to sell a put, and that put would be between 30 to 20 delta, and it's going to be the same time duration, which is 90 to 120 days. Cover, we would for this one, we would cover our loss when we lost about 100%. When we have 100%, let's say we collected $300 and we lose about $300, we're going to close the we're going to close the trade. Now, if we get to a certain level, if the profit, when we sell puts and then we were able to gain 50% of the profit, we're going to close the trade. So we close the trade based on two things. When we incur a loss up to 100%, we close, and then 50% we close. 50% profit, we close and then create a new one. Why do we do that? It's easy to go from 0 to 50% than from 50% to 100%. When you sell, call or puts, yes, it's harder. It's harder to go there. Many people will see that, yeah, the theta tend to be high when you get to closer to the expiration date. But again, because of that, it is easy for it to reverse and then take all the profit back or get stuck somewhere around that. That's why we just want to cover our profit when we get to that. Then the other program that we have is we picked some of the stocks and we want to learn how to do the adjustments. The results are very good. If any of you have been following the market, last Friday was a disaster. SPX, the biggest candle that I have seen so far from the top for it to drop like that. What happened is President Trump made a comment and then that results to this. But the biggest, let's go to the trade war time. You can see some of the ones that are this size. But look here, there's none of these candles that are up to this level. Except, okay, here is another one here on the December 12th, and that has to do with this trade war also. Yes. And you continue moving. If you look here, it's only that one. That's it. So How do we handle this situation? How do we do? The conclusion that we made is you have a very high profit ratio. When you have a very high profit chances of making profit when you sell puts at a long dated. You go 3 months or so. When you sell puts, you have a very high chance of winning. You have a very high chance of winning. To lose is when you did not do anything. But you can see, look here, none of them are, see, this is a win, this is a lose, but you can see it's only 200. And again, it didn't hit our 100%. We can still keep this going. How many days do we have? We still have about 37 days on these things. And we can continue. If you look at Meta, you can see we can still keep this because still, and let's go look at this. META, and you can see it came all the way down here and yet still is profitable in a sense because we are out of the money. As long as we remain out of money, we're still going to be able to get this. Now we have about 37 days. Is it going to come until, if it did not, the price did not drop down to 700, we would still win. You will still win in this one. So you have a very high chance of winning when you sell puts at a long dated period. I mean, because this one we do 90 to 120 days. Now, when you buy calls, because you're buying calls in the money at a higher delta, about 70, your profit tend to be very high. Look here, the total profit is 6,000 compared to this 5,000. 16,000, 12, what is it? What is the total? 12,000 compared to 5,000. So there's a significant difference. If you want to make more money and take more risk, because it's tend to be more risky, you have to do this. These results are very low at this point because of the fact that what we went through. But selling puts would guarantee you more profit. Buying calls, a long dated call, you have a more chance of making more money. If you know when to get in and when to get out, you have to follow a specific indicator. For me, I have my own indicator that I created, and it's this, the trend track. So I go in when it's green, and then when it's red, I get out. And if you look at the SPX here, so you can see I'll be out of here and then I'll go back in for this because it turns red on this line that I have here. I'll get out and then I will go in. So here I will get out too. When it passes line, I'll get out. But in this case, I was caught for my own account. I did not, because I was working and I didn't see this. It passed through. When I saw the candle, I said, oh my goodness. I did not get out because I didn't see it. So I could get out right away, but I say, you know what? Because since it's 2:30, because I go into these accounts and look at them 2:30. Any other time, I don't do anything. I just want to be consistent. Then I said, okay, since this is Friday, then I have to go in the Monday and see what is going on. On Monday, when I see this big gap, I said, that's it. I have to take my money and get out because I don't know what is going to happen. Most of the time, because people were not expecting this for such a big drop, then people would try to cover their, if let's say you sell some stocks and you want to pick them up again at a cheaper price. So people will go back and try to cover. I was expecting that, and that's what happened. And I get out of the trade. But what we learned is that You can make more money selling calls, but you have to be able to go in and get out at a specific time. But if you want a guarantee of making income, you don't mind about your, let's say you are retired, you don't mind about your full your portfolio or your entire money going down, but you want to be making some money month over month a month. I think the best would be selling puts. Yes. So now, since this is done, and we did some adjustment here also, we went in and this ones we only did 3 months. So we said just 1 month because we just want to learn how to do adjustments. If we adjust, we had the only one that is not in our list here is the BITO. It was losing so much. I made some adjustment and then decided that, you know what, let me just close this. The way it is going, it doesn't look good. You can see. So there's no adjustment that could help that situation. It was, you see, we started here. So it was just dropping. And so when you get to certain level, just get out. Just get out. Don't do any adjustment. Just get out. Now, if you are here, let's assume that you are here and you drop down. Maybe you can adjust this. You can go down a little bit. But other than that, all these things stayed. And look at here. No, this wasn't part of it. This is a different one. This one, we just buy a call. But you can see 20,000. I just buy a call. This is the main one. This is the main one that I do. And you can see it gave me 16,000. Even with that huge drop, still the profit is 16,000. And I have 37 days to go. Okay, so this would be the end of our program. We would stop this one. We're going to start a new one. This new one would be a covered call. To do a covered call, in most cases, if you don't have a margin, it would take about 90% of the price of the stock. Now, if you no, if you, let's say you buy you sold a put, you would put down about, the buying power effect would be about 90%. Now, if you just buy a call directly, you buy a stock directly and sold a call, you sell a call directly, then we want to see how profitable is that compared to just selling puts. Just selling puts. Or I am thinking, how about we do this? A will versus covered call. They're all similar, but a will, you start with what? You sell a put. You sell a put, then you rotate around. You assign, you go in, you do a cover call on that. Or we do a covered call, and in this covered call, we would have a limit how far the stock can go down. If our stock get to about 25, it lost about 20%, 25% of the value, we get out. How about that? We can start with that. We get out. We would not do any, we would sell puts. We would only buy the stock and sell calls. So one, we would do the wheels, and then the second, we would do a covered call. So we want to see, when you compare those two, does it make difference? And then again, even doing that, we may also try to bring in this one here, where, no, this one, where we buy a in the money call. We buy in the money call. So why not this? We're going to do 3 programs. In the money puts, in the money calls, we would do in the money calls, we would do a will. And again, the last one would be covered call. So we're going to see how those goes in, how to do the adjustment, And then finally, we make our conclusion. So let's do the experiment together. It will be a learning lesson for all of us. Thank you very much. I'll put that program together. That will be my next posting. Thank you.